Welcome to the Digital Amateur Television Experimenters Night. This is VK7 OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania. Amateur radio is a worldwide hobby that has many different aspects. Digital television is just one of the many modes and areas that are covered. Maybe you're interested in becoming involved in the DATV Experimenters Nights. You realise that you do not have to be a radio amateur or need any ATV equipment to participate anywhere in the world. Also participate in the night by coming up to the Queen's Domain club rooms. Yes, right on top of the Queen's Domain in the heritage-listed Coast Wireless Station. You never know, we might get you in front of the camera or behind doing one of the many roles during the night. We get underway with our program on a Wednesday night from 7:30 p.m. local time. We'll see you soon. This is VK7 OTC.
And this is VK7 OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania with our DATV Experimenters Nights. And this is Justin VK7TW at the mic tonight. And we have streaming going out, so I'm having a look at the comments there during the night. So please, if you're watching the streaming and you have a question or a comment, please come in on the streaming channel. We're also monitoring repeater 2, 146-700 on as well in the studio. So if you've got a question or a comment, please come in via either of those channels. Okay, tonight we've got a bit of a focus on the summer in big inverted commas, summer UHF VHF Field Day, which happened last weekend, and we've got a couple of people coming into the studios to relay their experience of the summer field day from a couple of different angles, and we also have what I've titled up the anatomy of a serious SOTA activation. So very much a bit of a theme of getting out and about with radio over the last couple of weekends. We also have some the Waverley Amateur Radio Society, a little bit of 3D printed trickery there, and also a review of the Low Key magazine tonight. So that's a bit of a hint about what's ahead. But I thought I'd start off. Hayden VK7HH, who is the host of the Ham Radio DX, very successful Ham Radio DX YouTube channel. Hayden released a video of the summer VHF UHF Field Day a couple of days ago, which is the experience that Richard VK7ZBX and also Hayden had on Mt Wellington. And I have to say, when I said in big inverted commas summer, unfortunately the activation on Mt Wellington of VK7 OTC was anything but summer. So I have got permission from Hayden to play the video, the Ham Radio DX video, It's only about 8 minutes long of Hayden and Richard's experience of the summer VHF UHF Field Day. So we'll go to that, and then I'll get Anthony VK7 LAG in the studio to relay his experience of the summer VHF UHF Field Day. So just stand by, and we'll get underway with our video of the ham radio, proof that amateur radio operators are crazy. So here it is.
We are absolutely crazy. Honestly, we're here up on top of the what we call Mt Wellington here in Hobart, at the summer field day. It's absolutely teeming down with rain here at the moment, and got a few onlookers here. We're right on the side of the road here, so just over the back is the edge of the mountain, but there's a road that runs straight past you. So you can see in the corner we've got 10 gigs running. We've also got some antennas. I'll try and duck out of the... There we go. We've got some antennas running. We've got 6 270 up the mast. I don't think I can change this round while I'm filming. Yeah, so as I said, we've got 6 270 up the mast there. We've got 23 centimeters 70, and then 2 meters, then 6 meter vertical antenna. We've made a few contacts over a few thousand Ks today, so that's boosted our points here in the field day. But I'll just come out in underneath the cover here. So we've got the 7300 and the 9700 running here. We've just got Richard's currently working 10 gigahertz across to about 160 kilometres, or about 100 miles north from here. Well, Richard, it's the summer field day.
Where's the summer gone?
And the weather is just crap, isn't it?
It's not very good.
No, it's not.
Less than optimum.
No. So, we're absolutely freezing up here at the moment. So
moist, and all our gears
we're going to have to pack up that gear, but at least we're nice and dry under here.
That's right. This is version 2.3.2, I think, of the Humpy.
Dear. It's a bit different from a few weeks back with our escapades to New Zealand, but all right, let's see if we can get some more contacts and some more contesting done here before it starts to snow.
Yes, good plan.
Seeky contest, Victor Kilo 7 Oscar Tango Charlie, VK7 OTC. VK7 OTC for the summer field day, calling Seeky contest and listening. So 590 Oscar Charlie. Over. Roger, QSL. We are absolutely crazy. Oh, the things that hams do, honestly, the things that hams do, although it could be better, it could be this guy. He's keen. We're trying to make some contacts. the aim of the game is to make as many contacts as possible in 2 divisions. There's 8 hours and then there's 24 hours. We usually go in the 8-hour section for a little bit up here. Yeah, it's a bit insane at the moment.
Very well. My number on this one is 009, and I haven't moved over.
Well, it's briefly cleared, and I wanted to just show you the view from up here. So down here is the city of Hobart, and we're up on the mountain here, Mt Wellington, which is about 4,000 feet above sea level, 1,200 metres. Very, very windy at the moment. So much for summer field day though, and this is really insane. Why we do this? Anyway, so yeah, there we go. More sheltered. So this is where we set up. That's the kind of view that we get. And usually when it's a nice day, it's good to look at, but not today. So we're still operating up here. We packed away some gear because it's started to absolutely belt down with rain, but made a few contacts on 6 metres, which is good. Made a few contacts on 2 metres, made a few contacts on 70 centimetres. But yeah, the rain's becoming a real pain at the moment. We get some funny looks too from some drivers with our antennas up here in the air. So, all right, well, see if we can make some more contacts. Gee, it's cold up here. It's probably about 5 degrees, but it feels like -5. That's Celsius. Absolutely freezing.
Victor Kilo 7, Oscar Victor Kilo 7, Alpha Golf Portable. Last 59011, over.
Last year the weather was a lot better up here. It was actually summer. So for those who are interested in that video, just click up here in the cards and I'll have a link to the 2020 summer field day. That was back in January last year, and it was a lot better than today. Also in that video I've got a few videos of others who set up as well across Australia. Check out that video. So yeah, but I mean, look at this, it's freezing. Richards, we've got the manual I can't zoom in. We've got the manual rotating of the antennas as well. Honestly, the things we do for ham radio. Well, that was fun. The weather's turned quite bad very quickly. In fact, it's been hailing. So we've just finished packing up. Woo! Well, so I think all in all we had about 80 contacts, so in about 6 hours. So about 10 contacts an hour. That's not too bad. It's been a bit of a probably a bit of an ordinary video. I wasn't really prepared. I had some cameras and stuff, but it was just, the weather was just too bad. So appreciate you guys watching anyway, and don't forget to subscribe to the Ham Radio DX channel, and also hit that like button. And I'll see you in the next video. Hopefully it's a slightly warmer one. 7-3 for now.
Welcome to the Digital Amateur Television Experimenter's Night. This is VK7 OTC, the club station of the Radio and Electronics Association of Southern Tasmania. This is VK7 OTC.
Yeah, thanks.
We're missing some audio, are we?
We just had our floor manager tell us there was no audio. Thank you, Steve. That was the ham radio DX video from Hayden VK7HH and featuring Richard VK7ZBX. Just come in a little bit closer.
Scoot across.
Well, I can't move that camera.
Fair enough.
And just showing you in big inverted commas the summer VHF UHF Field Day. So
it was sunny in periods. It rained and then it was sunny, and then it rained and then it was sunny.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. Well, and they did have in that video some sun in there. So
yeah, video evidence that
correct.
It was kind of summer.
Correct. Every so often, for half a second.
Yeah. Yeah.
So okay. Welcome, Anthony.
Thank you.
VK7 LOG, who's in the studio again. Now, Anthony, tell us where you operated from for the summer VHF UHF Field Day.
Well, this is the first field day I did.
Okay.
So I took the notion of a field day kind of literally, and I went outfield.
No.
So, yeah. So my operating location was actually a SOTA summit.
Okay.
Called Tinderbox Hills, which I think is C052 from memory.
Okay.
So it's basically a half-hour walk.
Cool. Cool.
From the start. So I operated outside from that.
I'm just going to bring up. Oh God, that was a terrible cross, wasn't it?
Oh.
Let's do that.
So here we go. That's my initial setup.
Woo! I love it.
Because this was. I need to make it bigger.
That's all right. Do you want to take us through? So this is Tinderbox Hills.
Oh yeah. So with last Wednesday when you mentioned using a hoochie when you're outfield, I'm like, that's a good idea. I've got one of those at home. Cool. So and I'm glad I did, because I think the first half an hour I spent setting that up. Yep. And about 5 minutes after I did, it started raining.
There you go. I love it.
And it got a little bit windy, so it was actually kind of handy, especially because I was there from probably about 1 o'clock, 1:30.
Okay.
Up until probably 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Yep. Oh, okay. You went right all the way through.
Well, it took me about half an hour just to set up.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of a pain to do all those knots in the wind and the cold.
Understand.
So yeah, as I was saying to Richard last week, my main driver for the field day was actually to see how far I could get on simplex on my handheld.
Okay.
So the initial plan was that I would try and get as many contacts as I could with my dual band handheld on 5 watts.
Okay.
And then when I exhausted that, I'd go to my ICOM 705 and a Yagi, and then single sideband. That was the plan.
Okay. And how did that plan go?
Well, not too badly. I found that I made most of the contacts on my handheld, and then by using my ICOM, I think I might have gained maybe one more.
Right.
And that was about it.
Okay.
And if you go to the next photo though,
yep. If I click
once the rain stopped.
Yep.
I assembled my my Arrow handheld antenna and tied it to a tree.
Excellent. And how did that go?
Well, I thought it worked okay. I made the knots loose enough that I could still change the pitch of the
polarization.
Antenna. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
But watching Hayden's video on HRDX, I noticed that I was fading in and out. That may have been because the antenna was blowing around in the wind.
There you go. Well, that's excellent.
But yeah, it was actually a lot of fun. Yeah. Even with the handful of the people that participated, I got to see how far I could get on 5 watt simplex.
Yep. Which was how far? Who were you contacting?
I think the furthest. In terms of grid squares, I think it was about 30 or 35 kilometres.
Okay.
But I know that Warren VK7WM was actually on. He was on the signal station at Mount Nelson, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I could get him at S6 just with a handheld.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was
you were both on decent hills.
Yes.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
And what I did was I think I made a contact to Warren about 7:15, and then the band was pretty quiet. I think most people were eating instead, or dinnering or something.
Okay.
So decided to call it a day, and then I clipped my Yaesu handheld to my backpack as I was walking down the hill, and I actually made one more contact to VK7QP. Linda. As I was walking down the hill. So because I had this backpack with about 10-15 kilos worth of stuff on it, I kind of dumped it onto the ground, got my logbook back out, wrote it down, changed bands, and made 2 more contacts. It was quite chuffed.
I love it. I love it. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so all of my logging I did with a waterproof A5 notebook.
Okay.
And it got covered in mud and rain and all sorts of stuff, so I'm glad it did.
So glad it was waterproof.
Yes. Yes.
Well and truly. So well, that sounds excellent.
Yeah, it was good fun.
So how much rain did you encounter? You said there was some when you set up.
So when I got there, it was kind of overcast and looking a little bit nasty.
Okay.
I kept an eye on the weather radar as well.
Yeah.
So once I set up the hoochie, I brought a camp chair as well, as you can see from the photo. So that set there. And then it started raining for a little while, and then it was sunny, and then it started raining again, and then the sun came out, and then it rained again. Okay. That must have happened maybe 5 or 6 times from memory.
Yeah, okay. So it was a bit on again, off again.
Yeah, just a tad.
No, okay. So, and how many contacts did you end up making?
Good question.
Ish. You know.
Oh, I can't remember.
Hello, Warren.
Howdy.
Talking of the devil, we were talking about you.
Yes, Warren was one of my last contacts on 2 metres, I think.
Yes, from Mount Nelson, I understand.
Yeah, it got pretty quiet at 7 o'clock at night, didn't it?
Mount Nelson Signal Station was my portable location.
Excellent.
I think I should have brought my logbook in, but I think I might have made about 20 contacts.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
Yeah,
it's very good.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I think the multiplier for UHF was pretty good. It was 2.7 or something from memory.
Yeah. So any out of your grid square is going to get you a reasonable score.
Yeah.
That's and any even further than that will just blow it away. So up to I think 10. If my memory serves me correctly, up to 10 gigs. Like it progressively goes up to 10 gigs, and then above that, it just explodes. It's like the multiplier for 10 gigs, I think, is 10 times 10. So it's anything you get times 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very interesting. Okay, no. Well, that is fan. So, how did you find? Because this is a little bit of a different contest. It is very much a field day, and it is trying to get the furthest on that VHF and above. Sort of. So, what's your impression of that sort of format of contest? And
I think most people would probably do the 8 hour.
Yeah.
Because doing 24 hours is, it's a long time to be
hard work.
Yeah. I noticed that there was, I'm not sure how many contacts you would have got, Warren, but I found there was maybe a dozen people tops in the South Tas area.
So, well, I found that I was working single band only. That was my choice. So I was just doing 2 meters.
Okay.
And I was happy to get 10 contacts, which took me a while. And then I think you were doing probably 2 bands?
Yeah, I was on 2 and 70.
Okay.
Yeah, on 2 meters and 70 centimeters, and you got about 20-something contacts.
Yep. Yeah, about 20 from memory.
And then I've seen others who done about 30 contacts, and I think they might have been working 3 bands or so.
Yeah,
so
3 or 4 bands.
It was that kind of scale.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's that, and that sounds about right, because you can rework every 2 or 3 hours. I'm keep forgetting what
every 2 hours.
Every 2 hours. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
So in that 8 hours, there's at least 3, a multiplier of 3. If those people stick around, that's one of the issues, because you don't tend to get everybody sticking around for that 8 hours.
It was kind of a change from the RD. Because in the ID, there's like it's like this constant stream of transmissions on the calling channels.
Correct.
Whereas the field day was, you know, just calling CQ every now and then and nothing for a bit, and then it's about time I can get another contact with Warren. Yeah, you're still there.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
that's that
Slow
was
paced.
one of the and it was I think it was you last week who alerted me to the fact that the recorder in the 705 is really nice.
Oh, yeah, I know, it works a treat, doesn't it?
Because you can put in there your CQ calls, which is what I did for the SOTA activation.
Oh, nice.
And I just sat there and kept pushing the button. and I thought, I really like this.
Oh, it's so convenient. When I did the SOTA activation, when I first used that feature, I had a mate with me, and I was having a chat to him and going, just continue the conversation. And my radio was just CQ, VK7, LH. Yeah, it was great.
It's so very nice feature of the 705. Very nice feature of the 705.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
So yes,
I didn't use it at all on the field day though.
Oh, okay.
No, I probably should have. But,
Yeah, because I find in the RD, and we operate 24 hours. If you are doing that for 24 hours. You end up with no voice the next day. It's just absolutely nothing. And I go to work the next day with a really raspy, really Marilyn Monroe voice, and everyone goes, "What have you been doing?" So yes, just excellent. Well, that is fantastic.
Yeah.
So
it was fun.
The $64,000 question is, will you go in another one?
When's the next one?
Okay.
I think next time though, what I'll do is I'll bring a bigger backpack.
Yeah.
And bring something for 6 meters as well.
Yeah.
Because I think I said before, my backpack was probably about 10-15 kilos with all of the stuff, including like a camp chair. I ran out of space in the backpack.
Yep.
I started tying stuff to the backpack.
Yeah.
So I was walking up the hill and everything was rattling and chunk. So I think next time I'll bring a bigger backpack
and an antenna for 6 meters.
For 6, yeah. Because if I bring an antenna for 6, then in theory I can use my 100-watt Yaesu, which will probably go a little bit further.
Yeah. And your 705. In
for everything else. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That is fantastic. Good stuff. Now you're quite welcome, Anthony, to stick around.
Yep.
Because the next segment, I just need to remind people, first of all, before we go into our next segment, the Ross Hale Memorial Contest is running all of January, so it is still running, and it's your best 7 or 21 days. I think it's something like that. Anyway, of contacts, and I don't know whether on Sunday they did. On the 23 centimetre net, the 11 o'clock changeover, Richard put the idea out that if we made the contacts before 11 o'clock on the Sunday, as part of the 23 centimetre net, after 11 o'clock, of course, that's the UTC-J changeover, so you can make the contacts again because it's all in UTC.
So you wait 5 minutes
and make the contacts again, which is a bit like what we do on the SOTA New Year's Day. It's our double points day because we all go up the mountain before 11 o'clock, make all these contacts, then stay there after 11 o'clock, make all the contacts again. So from one year to the next, that's the year changeover.
The problem with New Year's Day is it's the National Hangover Day.
Yeah. I understand that. So yes,
you might not get that many contacts.
It's amazing how many you get. But anyway, so just a reminder: the Ross Hale Memorial Contacts, which is VHF and above, so same frequencies, modes, etc. It is based. It's a distance-based grid square based contest. So you are exchanging grid squares. So distance and frequency based contests. So it's still going, VHF and above. So yeah, that's.
So a question there. When submitting your log for this contest, Do your entries have to match other logs being submitted for the same contest?
Yeah, they do, and they get checked in the same way that the summer field day logs get checked. However, the key thing is your summer field day log can be also put in for the Ross Hull as Ross Hull contacts, because you're taking down exactly the same detail for the Ross Hull that you took down for the summer field day.
Requires so that the other parties you made contact with are also participating in the contest. Correct.
Oh, that's a good point. And more than likely they're going to be putting them in for the Ross Hull as well. So yeah, that's the custom and practice that goes on. So yeah,
I hadn't thought of that. Now I'm wondering if the contacts I've made are expecting me to put it in for the Ross Hull.
Ah, well, there's a couple of the people that are maybe expecting it out in the club rooms. You may want to check with them.
Can you view submitted logs for the Ross Hull? Of which call signs submit them?
Well,
or do you have to wait until
you'd have to wait because the Ross Hull hasn't finished yet.
Yeah, okay.
It's for the whole of January. So, but you can then view who's been submitting. It's exactly the same process and exactly the same checking done for both, because, and I know that because it's the same people who run those two contests. So they do all the check logs. They do all of the submitting. They've got automatic. They've got algorithms that check all of that stuff. So that's how they can come back with a very comprehensive check report at the end to say, you know, you stuffed up the time or you stuffed up the name or
so because,
call sign or whatever.
Yeah. So because I did the field day from a SOTA summit.
Yeah.
What you're saying is I can enter for the VHF UHF Field Day, the Ross Hull and SOTA.
Of course.
One in the same contact.
And now, the fourth one there may be, and I'm not quite sure about Tinderbox Hills, but the fourth one may be WWFF. Because if that's in a park or it's in a park reserve, etc., you may also be able to submit it for that. So.
Oh wow! Okay, 4 contests in one day.
I love it.
4 flies with one.
Absolutely, I have to look that one up.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. So there you go. So.
Okay. Anyway.
Now, the next segment I've got is the anatomy of a serious SOTA activation.
Oh, should I go?
No. And I'm not saying yours is not serious.
Oh, it's not.
You realise why I'm saying this is a serious SOTA activation when I go through what we did to get there. So, on the weekend, and the reason why I wasn't in the summer VHF UHF Field Day was, I found myself up in the northwest at Mt Roland. And we stayed literally at the base of Mt Roland in a wonderful little B&B because my wife was actually going to a harp gathering on the Sunday. And so on the Sunday, while she was at the harp gathering, which was at the Claude Road Memorial Hall, which if you know Mt Roland, Claude Road is just at the base of Mt Roland. And there is a suburb, there's actually an area, like a township called Claude Road. It's also Claude Road that goes through that area, but there is an area called Claude Road. It's got a sign up, Claude Road, and it's the Claude Road Memorial Hall. So Helen was off doing harp things for the day, and I decided that I was going to do a SOTA activation. I had climbed, both Helen and I actually climbed Mt Roland back in the late 80s. We knew some people who actually lived next to the track that goes up to Mt Roland, and we stayed with them, and one day we did Mt Roland. So I had a bit of an idea about Mt Roland, but what I actually wanted to do, and I'll put this up on in very non-high-tech form. Now I get those wrong all the time. Anyway, sorry. Apologies for the. So now the first thing I learned was Mt Roland is only one mountain in what they call the Fosse Mountains.
Well, that's a bit optimistic.
So, so when you look at Mt Roland and the picture of Mt Roland, which is a wonderful vista, great big vista, only one end's Mt Roland. It's actually the Fosse Mountains that you're looking at.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. So what I had planned to do was come in Kings Road, come up this scary looking contour lines which are sort of very dark because they're really close together.
Oh.
Up here to Mt Roland, and then across to Mt VanDyke, which is this one here, and then across to Mt Claude, and then basically out Oliver's Road. And basically Helen dropped me off here at the end of Kings Road and was going to pick me up at Oliver's Road at the end of the day. So that's great. Dropped me off 8:30. 2.5 hours later I was up here. So what you do is you rise about, you start off at about 400 metres in elevation. To get up here is 1234. And you're doing that in less than 2 kilometres.
Ooh.
So, and I knew that. I knew it was going to be steep. So, okay. Went up there, activated Mt Roland, and I'll show you some slides in a minute. Some slides. Some pictures in a minute. So, activated that at about, about 12-ish, somewhere around there. Then walked down this track, met lots of people coming in the other direction at about that point, including a Queensland family who I sort of looked at strangely. But anyway, and I met a dog.
A dog?
I was walking down this track, and because you were rock hopping on the track, because Mt Roland's made of conglomerate, and so there are conglomerate boulders everywhere, and the track is literally cut through the vegetation, and you're rock hopping most of the track. So it's not a flat track. It's you're rock hopping those tracks.
It's tough going.
Which is tough going. It's very tough going. And so I had my hat down, and it was sort of the whole time it was in low cloud. So you really, and I'm really focused on doing this rock hopping and not losing my footing, injuring myself or whatever. And this dog comes up, and it really startled me. I just sort of went, I jumped, and I went, and the two people that were behind the dog laughed, and I went, oh sorry, I just didn't expect a dog, like up on top of a mountain. Anyway, that's another story. So you get to the junction here. The junction here says that, which is O'Neill's Road, which is the way that most people actually walk in. It's along this track here, and I'll tell you why most people walk in on that. And
so just for reference, how wide is a grid square?
Okay, the grid square? So the blue grid that's on this is. Two of those grid squares are 2 kilometres, so they're kilometre squares.
Ah, okay, yep.
They're kilometre squares. So to go from Mt Roland to Mt VanDyke is 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 4 kilometres.
Oh.
It's about that sort of. So you get to O'Neill's Road and it says O'Neill's Creek Track Junction. And it says 1.5 hours to Mt Roland in one direction and 1 hour to Mt VanDyke in the other direction. So that's the sort of... and so I went off onto the Mt VanDyke, which is a much easier track. It's a dirt track. There's very few boulders. It's much easier walk. You're pushing through vegetation in a little bit of the track, which is... given there was low cloud, that vegetation was wet. So you were getting wet. So that was a bit of a... yeah, okay. Got to Mt VanDyke. It was blowing a gale on Mt VanDyke, and actually it was blowing a gale on Mt Roland as well, but I was able to get behind some rocks, leeward. Same in Mt VanDyke. Did that, came back, decided at that stage, I got back to that junction and it was 4 o'clock. And I went, I am not going to be able to do this because I don't know what that track's like. So
that's at least what, 10 kilometres?
That's what is it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to Mount Claude.
Yeah.
You'd need to do the activation. Now, the advantage at the other end here at Mount Claude is there is actually a telecommunications tower here with a road that goes to the telecommunications tower. So you actually walk down a road. So that's a bit of an advantage. But I didn't know what the condition of this track was. And if it was a rock hopping track, forget it. You can't make any leeway on it. So I just made the decision. I'm going back down O'Neill's Creek track, and it was an absolute luxury. And I'll show you a picture of it as we come back. But
luxury,
absolute luxury, absolute luxury. So that was a bit of a better transition. So, what I will do is just hang on, bring up the what am I doing here? I know what I'm doing. I do know what I'm doing, although it may not look like it. I'll just bring. There we go. Bring this back over here. That's your fine self. Here we go. Now, let's take that back over here. So, what you're looking at here is this is the view from the bed and breakfast.
Oh, it's very scenic.
With Mt Roland in the background, so that's how close you were to Mt Roland. That's a picture I took on the way out on the Monday, and literally that's what it looked like on the Sunday.
Oh.
The whole top of it was in cloud, and you'll see there's some panoramas I did, which were very scenic for the sort of the local rock work, but you couldn't see any views in any direction. This is the track going up from Kings Road. It doesn't look very steep there, but it gets progressively more and more steep. You go up a ravine to Mt Roland from Kings Road. There is lots of, towards the end of it, lots of rock climbing, and you're climbing over boulders, you're climbing up all the time. You probably take about 10 steps and you would go up in a few places more than 10 metres.
That looks reasonably dense in terms of vegetation as well.
Yeah, track's not bad. So the track's cleared, so that's not too much of a problem. And in fact, in a lot of places, you're thankful for the vegetation because you can actually hold on to it and pull yourself up.
Yeah.
And if you were coming down that, it would be really helpful. So looking back in the other direction, this is looking out to Bass Strait. So this is looking north. To give you an idea about what you're looking at, that's looking north. So you got some nice views on the way up. You can see on the right hand side that you come up between these two sort of cliff faces. So
you're really kind of saddle.
Yeah, well and truly, and you sort of go into a saddle and then up onto the plateau.
Yeah, okay.
This is just you're walking through this sort of rock, up over these sort of rocks. There is some fairly muddy patches. You really need gaiters, which I didn't have, so that I was actually trying to avoid these sort of patches. I forgot the gaiters. That was one thing that was the one thing I forgot. Didn't forget anything else. Just forgot the gaiters. This is actually looking north again. So there are some rocky sort of outcrops that you walk through to get to the highest point, which is Mt Roland.
Is that Roland here?
Yeah, it does look a bit like Roland, doesn't it? I should submit that to the human and see who sees it. Don't worry, Warren and I are on Facebook group called what's it called? Human faces in inanimate objects or something. It's
something like that.
Now this is Mt Roland. This is there is a rocky outcrop on the top of the plateau.
Oh,
and that's the trig point. You can see right there. Now, I actually didn't go up to the trig point. I stayed at the base here and operated from the base because I was actually in a sheltered space. And the rule with SOTA, which is very handy sometimes, the rule with SOTA is you need to be within 25 vertical meters of the highest point, which is considered to be the activation zone. So that rocky outcrop was nowhere near 25 meters high. So literally the activation zone is actually quite big.
yeah.
It's huge. It can be almost the whole plateau if it doesn't go down below 25 meters. So that worked in my advantage because I basically operated down here behind these trees and I velcroed the squid pole to the trees.
How high are the trees?
Oh, they're 6 foot.
Oh, okay.
They're as high as me. You know, that sort of height.
So not high enough to throw a dipole into.
No. What you could do though is tie it to the trig point and literally throw it over the edge and sort of put it on the end of a squid pole or something like that. That's the other thing. Or you could use I've used the trig point on a number of mountains to actually hold the squid pole. So you velcro the squid pole to the edge of the trig point and just push it up. And I've done that quite a few times. The problem out here was the wind. It just would have blown it to bits. So the wind was a real... And you can start to see on the right-hand end, that's low cloud. That hazy bit is low cloud.
Ah, you're literally in the clouds.
You were going in and out of cloud all the time. Here's an example. And I actually took this example for the track. That's the sort of track you're walking along, which is just boulders all the way through, and it's a pain because you've just got to keep your wits about you all the time. One slip and you're over. But that's a good example. The cloud was just rolling in and rolling out, and wasn't raining.
Oh,
but if you've ever been in low cloud, anything that is a surface in low cloud gets moisture on it really quickly, and you suddenly go, oh shit, I'm wet. How did that happen? Because I'm not feeling wet, like it's not, but it's just it's the moisture in the cloud that's condensing on you. This is a sort of a back towards Mt Roland. There's a big block field here. There's sort of rocky outcrops all the way across. You're looking here from east to west. You're looking south on that particular shot. Sorry, I stopped for lunch and I'm sitting on this rock and I look across and there's this piece of wood next to the rock and I went, that's a man-made piece of wood. And I got a and it's a memorial.
Oh, it's a memorial rock.
So I sort of went, oh, thanks, Matthew. Good, nice rock.
Yeah.
And I sort of went, okay.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the Mt Roland track down to O'Neill's Creek Road, there are duckboards. So that's a really easy walk and a really quick walk. Now, this is a panorama of Mt VanDyke. This is Mt VanDyke here.
So would that be a separate SOTA?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it is, and it's actually one we added in the second round of updates. So it's one that we didn't pick up. I didn't think originally that it was actually met the prominence rule. But in a revisit, it does meet the prominence rule. So you do drop down at least 150 metres, and it's certainly 150 metres away from anything else. So, so that's Mt VanDyke. You can see that's pretty stereotypical of the weather we were in. I operated in this gap here, and literally around the back of that gap to try and get away from the wind. There was a little cave arrangement back around the back of this, which was really handy. However, the cloud rolled in, and the 705 and everything else got very wet.
Uh-oh.
And that was even with it literally in under the backpack. And I looked at the screen and I went, okay, that's water. So I made my, I think I made 7 contacts here really quickly, and I just packed up because everything was wet. I was wet. The wind was still blowing. I was starting to get cold. I didn't want to get hypothermia because I still had 2 hours of walking out of here. So, but anyway, that's Mt Vandyke. So, and that's the track that you take. You continue on that track to Mount Claude. So, now, O'Neill's Creek track.
That looks a bit more pleasant.
Well, 2/3 of O'Neill's track is a fire trail, which follows the contours around the face of Mount Roland. So I can sort of understand why everybody comes up to or most people come up to Mount Roland on this track.
It's quite easy, doesn't it?
Because it's idyllic. It's just fantastic. So my advice to people is, if you're going to do Mount Roland, Mt Vandyke and Mount Claude, go O'Neill's Creek track, because that was just wow. And it only took me an hour to get back to the car park. So now this is one I left in here. This was a headline that I came across in Railton, and I just tickled my fancy. Resident objects to park sale. Okay. They take objections really seriously from single residents up there. So.
Is there something more to it? Is that it?
That's it.
Oh wow!
So single resident. All front page.
Objects to park sale. Slow news day, I think. But anyway, no, it was.
That's up north, isn't it?
Yeah, correct.
That's the only resident.
So I just. But anyway, that seriously, that was
probably the editor.
that was the SOTA trip. I am planning to go back and do Claude Road at some point. Claude Road is, and I'd probably be doing that from the other end, from Oliver's Road, and just going in that way, because that is certainly the easiest way of doing that. And I'd probably walk the track to Mt Vandyke a little bit just to see what the condition of the track is, so to see whether you could do all 3 at once, because Mt Roland's a 10-pointer, Mt Vandyke's an 8-pointer, and Mt Claude's a 6-pointer. So that's, if you can do that in a day, which would be a pretty full day, that's a fair amount of SOTA activation points in one day. And if you, unfortunately, I was hoping to get some summit to summit contacts on Sunday. I didn't get any. I got some summit to parks contacts, but because I'm not that many points away from 1,000 points summit to summit points. So I just okay.
Yeah, so what sort of contacts did you have? Were they VK7s or mainland?
Okay, mainland. I only operated on 40 meters, and that was just 40 meters is a sort of 7090 is the preferred SOTA frequency. They were VK3s, VK5s, and VK2s, and a VK1, MAC, VK1MA, and then Mt Vandyke, there were a couple of VK7s in there as well. So Ross up at the northeast, and also VZ. Now, where did you say he was? He was down south somewhere, but he said absolute cracking signal on 40 metres. So, so that's, yeah.
Yeah, where's VZ?
7VZ. He was down, I think he was down like Tasman Peninsula or somewhere like that, I think.
Okay.
I think. I may be wrong there, and please correct me if VZ's watching. But anyway, that's the... oh, and Harry. Hello, Harry. And Mt Roland is a very nice place. In fact, those people who know me on Facebook and Instagram will know that I post a flower from South Hobart every day. A different flower from South Hobart every day. That was a COVID activity that I've continued. What I've posted over the last 2 days is actually a whole bunch of flora from Mt Roland, because I was taking shots of quite different flowers and flora whilst I was walking the track. And in fact, I came across, I slipped whilst I was going up a fairly steep bit, and happened to look up to see an orchid right at face height, which you wouldn't have normally seen because it was really small. And so I got the camera out and took a photo of that. So that featured yesterday. So yeah. Anyway, so that's the Northwest. Highly recommended. Really good activation. My only recommendation is you take O'Neill's Creek track to get up there. Not think about Kings Road unless you are super duper fit and you want a bloody hard climb.
If you want a challenge in your SOTA.
You want a challenge, yeah. So it's certainly a lot steeper than I remember it when I did it back in the 80s, but then I was a lot younger back in the 80s as well. Actually, and
is that your log?
That's the log. VK2, VK3, VK1, VK3, VK5, VK3 for Mt Roland. VK3, VK1, VK3, VK3, VK7, VK3, VK7. So
yeah, okay. Yep.
And in fact, VK3BQ Andrew I had a bit of a chat with him because he was on his way back from the summer VHF UHF Field Day. They go to somewhere near Ballarat to do it, and they'd just packed up and they were literally on the road. He was portable, coming back from the summer VHF UHF Field Day in the afternoon. So yeah, I made the comment to him, this is why I wasn't doing the summer VHF UHF Field Day. So my Fitbit told me that I'd done 19.8 kilometres that day. So yeah, that was a reasonable walk. Now, for those people who will recognise this kit, if I turn it round, and we go there. Now, the Waverley Amateur Radio Society produced a very nice power pole kit, which is a Anderson connector, fused Anderson connector with a voltage meter on it. Very nice little kit that they put together. This is their club kit. I've built one of these before, and this is another one for another power supply that I'm using. And an update for those who have bought these kits. What you now get with the kits is a little 3D printed and QR coded alignment template for the fuses. These are the fuse holes, and these are the Anderson connector holes. And this is a little 3D printed. Hang on, I can zoom in here, give you a bit of a closer view. Little 3D printed alignment template that they supply along with the QR code, which gives you an electronic copy of the instructions on how to put it together.
Oh.
So they now include this little template along with the kit, which I think's a fantastic addition because it is a bit of a pain trying to line everything up and solder it in place, and then you realise that you haven't quite soldered it quite right, and so you've got to take it apart and resolder it and all of that sort of stuff. So a little 3D printed kit.
Ah, so this is a power distribution box?
Yeah, well and truly.
Ah, cool.
It's got Anderson connectors on an Anderson connector on one side that you connect to a power supply, and then it's got Anderson connectors, so a positive and a negative Anderson connectors for all of them, and fused, and they're fused. They're all fused with different automotive fuses.
Oh, right.
And what they've also done is included a digital voltmeter in the end of it. So it's little digital voltmeter LED module that you can check what the voltage is as well. And it also, there's a polarity LED, which is actually, that's the polarity LED there, that hole there. There's a polarity LED which glows green when the polarity is the right way round.
How do you get Anderson the wrong way around?
Oh no, well it's the power coming in.
Oh, okay.
If the power coming in is not the right way round, for whatever reason, your cable or whatever, your little LED won't be shining, and your voltmeter also won't be working.
Oh, so
it's is it a red-green LED or just a green one with a diode?
Yeah, so if it's around the wrong way, it's red. If it's around the right way, it's green. So really, good little handy arrangement there for that. But just the addition of this, I think, is a great addition to the kit. Really, really nice, and it comes with the kit. So
that's a template for cutting out the holes or whatever.
No, that's a template for lining everything up when you put it in to solder it in. You can line everything up in here and then solder it. So everything's, all the fuses and everything, and all the Anderson connectors are all lined up correctly, as well as the LED. So you can open it up. You open it up. You can have a look.
what does the finished product look like?
Yeah,
I should have bought a finished product along. But in fact, next week. Oh, and in fact, it's now a 3D printed case, which it wasn't before.
Oh, they've got some fancy patterns on the
So,
side too.
okay. So this is now a 3D printed case. And you can tell that because there's little hairs everywhere.
Little fibres.
So they've 3D printed, and very nice. That's the surface we're talking about. The very nice surface on the top. So there you go. And the base that goes with it, so is 3D printed. I love it. So what we might do is next week I'll bring it along and show it completed. So
it even comes with the fused Anderson connectors as well. Actual Anderson connectors.
Yeah, no, the real ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. The real ones. So
that's a nice bit of gear.
Oh no, it is, and it is Waverley's club project. So this is what they sell. They obviously make some money off it on the way through. Lots of them out there, because I know there are many out here that people have bought. I've got one at least, and this is the second one for a second power supply. So nice little kit. Now, it would be remiss of me to forget to mention. Oh, hang on, Harry. Mount Barrow would be nice for SOTA. Yes, it is very nice, Harry. I've actually activated Mount Barrow, and very easy to activate. Nice pathway up there. So very good indeed. You have to sort of work your way around the telecommunications facility to be within the regulations, but yeah, certainly. And you can. The big advantage with Mount Barrow is you can drive up there, a bit like Mt Wellington. Did you hear the noises on the repeater last night by any chance? No, I didn't. Sorry, not at all. So can't comment on that one. Now, it would be remiss of me to mention VK3AML Chris Long, who we know at this club because he was the Mount Barrow end of the optical record setting event, which went on between Mt Wellington and Mount Barrow back a few years ago. That 160 kilometre optical contact. I was up on Mt Wellington with Mike Groth, VK7MJ, and he was up on Mount Barrow. Well, Chris and VK3SL and VK3ASE have all gone to Deal Island, which is, for those who don't know, is in Bass Strait, off the end of Flinders Island and about halfway between Flinders Island and Wilson's Promontory, out in the middle of Bass Strait. Deal Island, and he has done a bidirectional optical contact between Tasmania and Victoria, because Deal Island's actually considered to be Tasmania.
Wow.
and Victoria, and those people who were at the other end, and I know it was Chris Morley and somebody else. So I apologise, I don't know who the other end was. But they did an optical contact, bidirectional optical contact between Tasmania and Victoria. It's about 100 and something kilometres. So yeah, that was pretty special. That was done a week or so ago. We also have, for the videos tonight, there are a couple of videos of some of the SSB contacts that were done with VK3YE, Peter Parker, and Peter Parker, in usual style, wound down the power all the way down to 8 milliwatts, wound in the attenuators down to 8 milliwatts, and he was still somewhat readable at 8 milliwatts by Chris Long, VK3AML. So that's one of our videos for our RF viewers a bit later. So yeah. Also, a bit of a mention for those people who use WSJT-X, they would have, and if they were using the release candidate RC2 version 2.3.0, they would have realised that on the 19th of January it expired and stopped working. Because it's a release candidate, it's not a full release, it's a development release. And they are usually time limited, and guess what the time limit was? Because I went to open it up and it came up with the screen and said, do you realise that this is past the 19th? And closed that window, and it closed the application. It wouldn't let me run the application. If you upgrade, they do have on the website, on Joe Taylor's website right at the moment, RC3, 2.3.0 RC3, which goes to Australia Day. So they are obviously about to release, I suspect, 2.4.0, which is in development, is in serious development right at the moment. So I would say they're looking at probably releasing that before the 26th.
Well, that's one way of stopping people from using your release candidates, isn't it?
It's time limited. So yeah. Unless you want to wind the clock back on your PC, which is
that old chestnut,
which is these days pretty hard because most things are linked to NTP.
Yeah, it'll just fix itself afterwards.
But anyway, that's just for those people who have RC2 and have realised it suddenly doesn't work anymore. Try RC3. It is available on the website. So there you go. Now we're at 2040. Oh my goodness. Okay, we might leave the review of this until next week because we've got a few other magazines from the low key, the VHF, the VK QRP Club. We'll leave that until next week. So and also next week we'll have Rex VK7MO on his 10 gig rain scatter experiments with RET VK3 Whiskey Echo WE. In Victoria, so in country Victoria, so there's some interesting stuff going on in that space. Our videos, as I mentioned, the Deal Island, a couple on the Deal Island contacts, and also came across a book review of a wonderful book by David Dufty called Radio Girl, which is the story of Mrs. Mac, Florence Mackenzie, who was fairly legendary in Australia around radio and Morse education in New South Wales during wartime. So interesting. Peter Parker reviews the book, so good little review of a fantastic book. So anyway, okay, Harry, prioritise that magazine. All right. Okay, no problems at all. It will certainly be next week. Thanks for that, and thanks to our viewers. Thank you, Anthony, for sharing your summer field day experiences. your summer in big inverted commas field day experiences. We'll probably get absolutely perfect weather for the winter field day.
Oh yeah, probably.
Because we have in the past actually. Apart from those that went up to Mt Wellington and had snow. But what do you expect in winter on Mt Wellington?
It's a field day, exactly.
Anyway,
it's more of a challenge.
So you're correct, and that's what it's about: operating portable out there, and all the issues that come with operating portable.
Yep.
And finding out you've forgotten that lead, and you have to make something anyway. All right, we'll get underway with our videos. So 73, and we'll catch you next week. Cheers.